Okay. Good evening, folks. There aren't too many out there, but good evening. Just to remind you, we will be televising this. It's available for anyone who wants to see it on Channel 22 or on the website of the town of Riverhead. And we'll proceed. So first, let me call this to order. I need a motion. Thank you. Jim, second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
5:02.
All right, the meeting is open at 5:02. And I need a motion to consider the proposed agenda.
Make a motion. Second.
Second?
Who was that?
I made the
Bob?
motion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kim
I
second.
just switched it. All right, there is one change under, Roman numeral V, Y111. The, item B says tentative, and it's not. It's real. We're going with that tonight. And, these folks are here to listen to us deliberate. All right, so all those in favor, aye, with the change?
Aye.
Okay. Now I'm gonna move right to the, consideration of financial assistance for island companies. That's under section 8. I'm just gonna move that, then we'll go on with the rest of the agenda. And there's a resolution that we want to put on the floor and chat about, and then take a vote. The resolution is, excuse me. Is that a number? Yes.
13.
13-19. Authorize the provision of financial assistance by the town of Riverhead Industrial Development Agency to Island International Exterior Fabricators LLC. I need a motion to put that on the floor. So moved. Thank you, Tony.
Second.
Second, thank you, Bob. All right, anybody want to chat about this? Well, while you are, I'm gonna read, board member Lori Kupczynski's not here. Yeah, I could read from that one too. But she, as she often does, decided to make her thoughts on this, in writing. So I'm gonna read on her behalf.
In support of the project.
Yes, well, in support of this process. Island Industries, beyond the retention of 300 local jobs, the creation of at least an additional 80 jobs, the vitality that the company brings to the EPCAL property, and the investment of tens of millions of dollars that have already taken place and is planned for the future, which is focused on reuse and expansion of existing buildings. Island Industries represents exactly what Riverhead had in mind when it began planning for the reuse of the Calverton property. I know this because I worked at Town Hall when these discussions were taking place. Here's a company that originally rented property at EPCAL and then purchased property and has been expanding its footprint, its subsidiaries, its local employment base ever since to become a fully integrated manufacturer. There is a reason why regions throughout the country go to great lengths to retain and grow their manufacturing base. Manufacturing generates significant demand for goods and services from other industry sectors and is responsible for creating a large number of the jobs outside of manufacturing. For instance, a recent report shows that nationwide, manufacturing supports 12 million direct jobs, but also more than 17 million indirect jobs. The industry also provides good wages for workers and gives those without a college degree an opportunity to advance within the company and earn family-sustaining wages in high skill and high productivity jobs. Island is also actively involved in helping to ensure that local residents are trained in the type of skills that will enable them to take advantage of these opportunities and will help their company meet existing demand and enable further growth. Island Industries is not some vague, fantastical plan for EPCAL. It's here. It's thriving and it's looking to grow. And I'm happy to support their continued success right here at Riverhead. Okay, thank you, Lori. She can't give us any more comments, though. Anybody else? Are you ready to vote on this?
Could somebody walk me through the schedule here with the numbers?
Sure.
In terms of where we are on these abatement requests?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Do you have specific questions, or you just wanna?
No, I'd just like somebody to walk me through it.
Okay, that's
I'm
a
still
good
new to this,
point, and we should do that.
And having somebody repeat it for me a couple of times doesn't hurt.
Very good. So if you'll do that,
Sure. So the incentive package that the board is considering this evening is a total estimate of $2.9 million. That's inclusive of a mortgage recording tax value of
You-
$56,000.
Tracy, could you, which, okay.
are you looking at this, Jim, or are you
Well, I was
looking at the resolution?
looking at this, but okay, we can look at this. Go ahead.
That's the numbers you want.
Of $56,250, a sales tax exemption value of $129,375, and a 15-year approximate abatement of 2.7. The exact numbers are on your paper. Total capital investment for the new construction and equipment is going to be a little over $3.9 million. The objective of this project is to retain manufacturing jobs on Long Island and this company. 214 manufacturing jobs and 50 to 70 professional on-off-site jobs, professional level. They project, despite being a retention project, an expansion inclusive of 47 new jobs in year 1 and 33 new manufacturing jobs in year 2, totaling 80 new manufacturing jobs within 2 years.
Other questions?
Okay, so the 2,721,000 and the estimated exemption is coming off your schedule here. Cal 81, 400 and 347, group 4, the subtotal at the bottom.
Correct.
Alright.
That's an estimated abated value. They will be paying approximately a little over 5.7 million during that time in tax revenue.
Uh-huh. That's the 5766
Correct.
total, okay. Okay, that's the individual breakdowns, right? Okay,
They will be, they've already expanded, into a lease space of 68,000 square feet from building 347, and they project another 25,000 square feet construction on the 400 Berman Boulevard property.
the sales tax exemption relates to what I'd call, presently anticipated expenditure, which would be something that's coming up real soon, that's the equipment you wanna buy.
Correct.
Uh,
That happens within the first 2 years of.
And the schedule on the abatement for the 2721, how have we scheduled that? Is that scheduled, we talked once about how we were going to tie that to various benchmarks.
So if you look at the resolution, the schedules on the back, lay out each of the abatements. So there's an abatement for each parcel, each tax map parcel. And then there's an additional exemption schedule for the
Okay.
400, Schedule D is the 400 Berman, 25,000 square foot expansion. That they must build within 6 years. If they don't build it, they don't get it, so that's a tentative exemption.
Mm-hmm.
All of the exemptions are tied to their maintaining their employment at the
Yeah, I read,
214, and once they meet the benchmark of the additional 80, continuing those employments at the higher benchmark, if you will, at that amount.
Does that just get monitored in the context of what the normal sort of pilot monitoring would be?
So we do an annual compliance report,
And that's where we check
and they
on whether
report
those
to
are
us
things-
what
okay,
their progress is.
Okay,
When you get this in New York State 45s, that,
Yes, the New York State 45s back it up, is really the only way, other than the certification that's notarized on the compliance report,
okay,
that we can validate the jobs have actually been made.
okay,
and then there's a certification of this resolution. They're required, after you vote on this, to sign a certificate that the facts we state on the basis of which you're making your decision are true as of the time you've made the decision.
Fair
So
point.
there's a certification they give us at the time of the application where they say, excuse my voice, I
yeah,
kinda lost it, traveling.
hail,
Hail, but, they're required to certify those facts at the time of the application, and they're required to recertify those facts after you adopt the resolution, as stated in the resolution.
okay, okay. All right,
Everybody is also aware that this is a phase one, phase two situation?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think we need to explain it then, to the board, but just to explain it in general. Some of the, phase one will be done now. Phase two is contingent upon it actually happening in the future. And then we'll develop and entertain that when the time comes.
Right.
Anything else?
no, that was it.
All right, all those in favor?
You need a motion and a second, unless
We al-
somebody did
We already
that.
have a motion,
You're right,
is that right? Okay.
Tony and Bob, correct.
Okay,
All right, let's, okay, all those in favor, let's do it this way. Yes or no?
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes, okay. Motion is carried.
Yes.
What's that?
I can't vote.
You can, but it won't count.
It won't count, yeah, but I'd like to vote.
All right, the proposal is, carried and approved. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking your time. We don't treat these things lightly because they're very important, not only to you and your company, of course, but also to the town of Riverhead and its tax base and everything else. We really wanna keep good businesses like yours that have grown from little ones into big ones to get bigger in the future. So we wish you just all the success in the world. Thank you for coming in. And do us all proud.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Congratulations.
You can stay if you want, but you don't have to. I know this is a riveting meeting. All right, now we'll go back to, item 3. And I need a motion to consider the minutes of the January 7th meeting. Okay. Bob? Yes? Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. And also, the special meeting of January 14th. The second resolution under that section. I need a motion.
Second.
Jim is, first motion and, Tony second, so all those in favor, aye? Aye. Okay, that's done. Tracy, you have any correspondence?
No, sir.
Mr. Treasurer, how about the treasurer's report for the month of January?
Okay, cash in the checking account in the People's United Bank, as of January 31st, was $254,233.34. The revenues for the month of January 2019 include interest earnings of $7.68, project fees of $32,621.15, from Atlantis annual compliance fees of $9,850, and an adjustment of $500 for projects that did not utilize the pilot splitting fee.
Okay.
Expenses paid on a cash basis for the month of January 2019 totaled $20,663.22. We get a motion to approve the.
Yes, thank you. I need a second.
Second.
All right, discussion? Questions, observations? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed? Right, that's approved, thank you, Mr. Treasurer. All right, committee reports, we have none. I wanna stop for a moment at the governance, although it says none, I'll use that as an appropriate time to mention and further something that we discussed as a board, at least the last meeting, maybe the last two. And that is to have some sort of a work session for the board, where we can consider and deliberate on what we think are major initiatives for 2019. By that I mean, what's the big one or two or three? Certainly not a laundry list of things to do. And also anything that comes to the board's mind. We didn't do this last year, but we should do this on a regular basis to make sure we have good direction as to where we're going, where we're putting most of our time and effort for the good of this town and also to carry out our mission. So what I wanna do is have a governance committee meeting, cause they really should instigate this. Tony, you're on that. Lori's on that, and I'm on that. So what I would like to do is find a time to meet, probably next week, if we can. I'll give you some dates.
I'm out of here.
Oh, you're gonna check on your money?
Yep.
Which island will that be?
Aruba.
That's good, we'll have a great
I'll
time.
be out of here.
That's a good place to have money.
It's not necessary that'll be next week, it could be the following week.
I'm here.
And we'll look at it, and then when we get to a point, we say that this is where we think we wanna go. We'll invite the other two board members who are not on this committee. We'll prompt them and ask them for their own discussions. And then we'll also set up a time when we're gonna sit down and go over these things. And that'll probably be, it seems like early February, but things happen, and we're also in the midst of the annual planning and
The audits,
reports.
the compliance
So we gotta get that out of the way, but let's figure that this is gonna happen in early March. And I'll keep you informed, okay?
Okay.
So, I'll get back to you, Tony, and to Lori and myself on a number of dates that we can use to get the committee meeting going.
Okay.
And have a good trip.
Thank you.
Any old business?
No,
All right. Under new business, we did island companies, so now there's a resolution 12-19, is that right? Yes.
yes.
HAA.
And that's for attendance by you, Tracy,
Yes,
and also board member Lori
yes.
Upchinsky, okay.
Normally, I wouldn't have a resolution to attend something like this, but because there's a board member that's interested in going and there's a cost associated with it, I brought it to the board for a resolution.
Okay, remind me, what's the,
It's $120 for both of us to attend.
and it's on the, what's it?
It's on February 13th,
February
and it's
13th.
regarding the economic state and forecast of Long Island.
Okay. Whoever appears at the HIA,
You want the speakers?
no.
Oh.
It's the HIA that's doing this,
Correct.
not the LA.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
HIA.
So that's the other one.
Who's the speaker? Who's the speaker? You know?
The list,
I'm sorry?
it's a number of speakers, yeah.
Okay.
I must Google.
All right, no big deal. Just curious, maybe I know that.
Actually, they don't have it on here. Agenda to be determined.
Stay tuned.
There you go. So number determined, I guess.
Tracy, when you get it, let me ask board members this question. You received, and I assume had an opportunity to read the Inform Analytics on Island.
Yep.
As Tracy mentioned up front, there were a few things that couldn't be done, like the multiple, abatements. But, you also got, at some point in time, probably a month or more ago, what their rationale and, what they use for measurement when they do these things. And, I'm assuming everyone read it. I did, but I don't remember it.
I think that was actually a list of terms, definitions of
Correct.
terms.
That's all it was?
So it really
Boy,
wasn't
I
any
don't
sort of.
remember that, it didn't
It
help me.
wasn't
Right.
really any sort of analysis of the economic or
Okay.
basis for, you know, they put in $1 and they get 452.
Mhm.
That part's still,
Right,
kind
so
of inside the box, if you know what I mean.
what I'd like to arrange is, a webinar. And might be able to
That's what I'm having.
dial in from your own computers at home.
That would be great.
So he'll
Okay.
go through the whole program again with, in particular,
Yep.
you, who hadn't, and go over the terms and what they use for their calculations. But I gave the definitions to you in advance just to review.
Okay, good. So you'll get on that when you can,
Yes,
and, we'll each become more involved in that. Cause I think, this is just me talking, that, the analysis of, Island is a big deal. When you look at all the reasons
Oh,
and
yeah.
entities that fit into somebody's, somebody in business out here making a go of it in a big way and influence a lot of other things. So, you know, you're talking about multiplier effects and many indirects. So I thought it was extremely useful, and it just adds to wanting to retain organizations like that and attract new ones.
Yeah, I think the critical issue there becomes the fact that we seek to retain them, but we have to look at the pragmatic opportunities, because if I understand correctly, space to expand in for them may in fact be limited, and at the rate they're going, it's a good idea to keep them here at the growth that they've got. But we could very well be confronted, down the road with the fact that they're just gonna outgrow the place, but,
Well, we'll try to convince them that if we can't help you,
yeah.
what you
So,
got,
it's
keep
the
it
right
here.
problem to have, but it's,
Yeah.
it's a practical consideration.
You know what was amazing was the total net benefits of
Huge.
$269 million.
the,
That's outrageous.
the Inform Analytics rep, when we were going over this, he was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is an impressive project.
Yeah.
And this really is just based on the jobs.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a,
But the job multiplier is enormous.
it's enormous.
Because it funnels down to so many people
You have a
beyond
copy
that.
in there.
Yes, I do, I read it.
And I'll just give a sneak peek, we're working on some options for expansion already, so, for the new year.
Good.
Some things are-
Executive Director report.
Executive Director report, let me find it amongst all this.
Did we make a resolution for your
No, you actually
attendance?
didn't.
Did you
didn't
finish
actually
it?
vote
We
that.
did
I don't
not.
think you
We
voted on whether you.
We're not going.
Sorry about that.
I make
Any
a
That's all right,
motion-
I can use it
make a
a
motion
day.
that
Oh, that's what we gotta do.
approve resolution 12-19.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor, right?
Aye.
Yes, you can go.
Thank you.
We want you to go. All right, you're on.
I wanted to go to this, I couldn't.
Yeah,
Well, go to
well,
something.
and I think,
That's
I
the
think
thing.
Jim was the only one available to go to a couple of the other ones, I don't know if you
Yeah,
were able
well, I
to
went to
attend.
the, I have to say that, my attendance rate is actually low. I missed the first one,
Oh,
but
no,
I got to I got to the LIA on Friday,
okay,
and, well, I don't know if it's a topic dear to everyone's hearts, but it was really all about, N-Grid and and gas distribution on Long Island, and how they're working on supply to, basically, well, cover projected shortfalls between demand and supply. And, I have a prior history of buying gas distribution networks, so at least I knew what the hell they were talking about. But, I found the most interesting thing about it was that it was I spoke to the chief exec at the end of the meeting, and, just talking about, Suffolk County and North Forks and Riverhead and things like that. He said the biggest problem we have out here is pressure,
yes,
and that they actually don't have a project on the board to address those pressure issues. So that in effect, when you talk about like the last mile, for instance, if their ability to actually extend their gas, service out east is, quite limited.
limited,
Quite limited, And I said to him, I said, well, could you send me the data? And, cause shouldn't you really be thinking about putting a project on the board, for that pressure issue? Cause, it needs to be addressed.
Part of our issue was in the paper recently about bringing more gas in from the Midwest into New York.
Yeah, that trend,
And unfortunately, I understand the governor is against it for
Well-
whatever reason.
right now, from what I understood from the meeting, I think they're going to have the approvals they need to get the gas supply they need for that, that growing demand. That's my impression. Cause I don't think it wasn't that it wasn't a heavy duty lobbying effort going on there, really. But yeah. But it also makes you think about rail, you know?
Absolutely.
Makes you think about your core infrastructure items. You know, like at the meeting, Jim, last week here on the DC one,
Right.
the woman who stood up and talked about the roads and everything, you know, she was making some good points that, people can get here and that, but,
So,
so I thought it was interesting.
yeah, yes.
There's something I stole from you.
Actually, I think the
See
LIA,
it.
I think the LIA is very Nassau County orientated. I don't
Yes,
know
it
what-
is.
I don't know what
I
you
can
can
tell
do
you
to
as a
get
board
them.
member, former board
There was
member.
some rumblings about, what do you wanna call it, a Suffolk chapter, try to get something going.
That's about 30 years old.
I'm
But-
sure it is.
And it's never quite made it because there doesn't seem to be much interest.
Yeah, it's willpower, I think, on the part of
here.
people, yeah.
And also the HIA is more, Western Suffolk, we're kinda like the, and I know that for a fact.
The what?
HIA,
Hub
industrial.
Industry Association.
Yeah. But anyway, it's interesting about the gas.
So amongst all the reporting and the audits and everything, we're actually very active right now. You will be seeing a new project next month, which we've been working on for, I would say, close to a year. G2D Development is going to propose 35 luxury apartments in downtown, on a vacant property,
Where is that?
in between the Salvation
Suburbs.
Army and Atlantis.
Yes, I do know that.
Dawn and I have also met with a couple developers, reviewing ideas for the property by the railroad station for trans-orientated development. And, I have a meeting tomorrow with, a long-time vacant property owner downtown for some,
Shelley.
no,
Oh.
actually.
There was another one?
For some brainstorming. And,
Good.
the charter schools received its authorization for high school, so I've been working with them
Ooh,
to
good for
find a
them.
site. So I also have a meeting tomorrow with a developer who may be able to, work on something for them, amongst other sites that we've been seeking, you know, from everything from Mercy to Kmart to, whoever. Also Kmart is looking to do something with their site as well. So that's just some of the future project initiatives. And going back a little bit, with regard to the, Opportunity Zone seminar we held, all thank yous went out to everybody who was in, sponsorship or supported us. We immediately received a response, almost the next day, I received a contact of a gentleman who needed to invest significant amount of funds. And, I wasn't able to meet with him the day that he was in town, but Dawn and the supervisor met with him, and they gave him some ideas of project investments that were going on in Riverhead. So hopefully, there'll be a connection there, but it was a positive response. Dawn and I also, Dawn spoke with John Marafino, and they're gonna actually create a page in the town's website just for the Opportunity Zone that we can link into to provide some information. During the governance committee meeting, we're gonna also review some of the new legislation that's being proposed.
Sure.
I did send out that letter, to everyone to review. I actually didn't receive any feedback, but we sent it out anyway, on the advisement of the chairman with regard to the prevailing wage issue.
That was a very well-written letter.
Well, it was a lot of the same stuff from last year, and also, a template from New York State
Mhm.
Economic Development Council.
Nice
And,
nice of you to tell us that.
and, the Empire Zone, bars are, being reported, so we have that too, in addition to our own compliance reports. So that's pretty much it.
Tracy, I have a question. You said the project between Atlantis and
Salvation Army,
Salvation Army, how many units is that?
35,
And is that gonna be market rate, or is that?
Yes.
luxury,
Luxury, okay, 35.
luxury. I
How do you-
specified,
Spell that.
I asked him specifically,
Okay.
market rate or luxury, he used the term luxury.
How do you
But
qualify?
But you can ask him next month.
No, that's good.
4 stories,
How do you
and minimum
qualify?
parking.
Mm-hmm,
4 stories?
35 units, 35 parking spaces.
Okay. How tall?
4.
4?
Yeah, he's downscaled it a little bit from his initial meetings, but, which is good, based on feedback, from the administration. And, and also Browning is gonna refinance, probably we'll have that before us
It
next
won't be
month.
100% either, I think it's 80% coverage.
Browning's gonna refinance, his construction loan, so that'll probably come before the board, the next meeting, right?
Well, he's gotta get his paperwork in order, and
Mhm.
then we'll be able to analyze what needs to be done.
Is that it? Anything else?
What happened in Albany?
And what?
You all went to Albany, I thought.
Yeah, I just didn't have time to prepare a report,
Oh.
but I'll send something out.
Okay.
It
Does
just,
that happen in town?
huh?
Does that happen live town?
Happened in, I know, well,
Does that happen in town? It's the place people wanna come to.
Riverhead?
Well, let me give you some of
Thank
my
you for your work.
observations. Excuse me. One of the ones I attended was, first of all, you gotta understand our state, and I'm sure you do, but I had the pleasure and the drudgery of, not the towns, but it's a big state, what you get north of Long Island. Goes on forever. In fact, from here to, Niagara Falls, it must be pushing 600 miles. So, anyway, so I went to one and it had to do with, what IDAs do in order to leverage their operations, especially those that are in, small areas, but not necessarily so. There's a lot of IDAs in the state of New York because of that general situation, that they make up multiple towns. So it might be Riverhead, Southampton, and Brookhaven, for instance, would constitute one area. They don't have that many in population relative to our density here, and, they don't have that much in, apparently, to do with, other things. So one is well, this one's in Westchester County, so it would qualify as sort of being in our area. And, if you, like, did you go to that one? No, you didn't go to that one. I think they represent at least one other, maybe 2 other counties to the north of them as well. But,
We attended separate breakout sessions.
yeah. And they were a Chamber of Commerce, but they got involved into the IDA. But one that really interested me was, this is, upstate New York, you can't get any further than this one. It's, north of, Lake Champlain, Plattsburgh. And they now represent, I don't know, 10, 11 other towns through the Adirondacks, so there's not necessarily a lot going on there. So they were looking for way to get into, a bigger operation and leverage what they had and the IDA's, opportunities, if warranted. And they decided that the only metropolis anywhere near them, not Albany, it was pretty far away, and Watertown, which is not that big, or Syracuse is. And they said, well, we're less than an hour from Montreal. And of course, the objection was, well, it's in another country. Well, they said, we're not gonna let that bother us, and we're gonna see if we could get a hold of Montreal folks, who come here, by the way. And we certainly go there, cause it's a very attractive city. And see if we can, make up any, situations that would benefit us both. And they've been working on it for a couple of years now, and it looks like they may have done that. So that got my mind to thinking about, without annexing them or having them annex us, what could we do with nearby towns? I don't know if there's anything, but we'll have to chat about that someday. For instance, Southold and Southampton, the two Souths, they don't have IDAs. And that interests me. But you've also got Suffolk County and other county IDAs, which now presents somewhat of a problem. So that was an interesting concept, and it's something that gave me some thought. And also, I went to one that was about, well, you'll know this, Bob, about chambers of commerce. And, they have the same mission, I would guess, throughout the country. If you are a representative of the Chamber of Commerce International, right?
Well, national, I mean, they're similar, for sure.
But anyway, a lot of them do a lot of different things, and, that was extremely interesting. Some of them get involved with, IDAs, some of them don't. Some of them, seem to do mostly things that are, fundraising activities, and others are more involved in the economic welfare of
Some of the organizational structures are actually within chambers of commerce.
You were there for that one, so.
I don't know, it might have been a previous one, I didn't go to that one, but, the economic development organizations encompass a whole, branch of, entities, inclusive of IDAs.
Mhm.
They're structured a little bit differently up north in some instances, so chambers of commerce actually operate IDAs in some instances.
I can see that.
And of course, there was,
Especially upstate.
yeah,
I can understand that.
and there was a lot of talk, but you'll see that in Tracy's note, a lot of talk and a lot of interest in, what are the legislative things on the table this year, given that, the Democrats now have control of, the government other than the governor's area. And they're not necessarily beneficial to some of the things that, we do now or wanna do. And that goes beyond, wage laws, minimum wage laws. What's another?
Yeah,
big
the whole premise of the conference was basically surrounding the new legislative, future, and how it impacts economic development, and in more
Mhm.
specifically IDAs, also new regulations or policies put forth by the ABO, which is not really our legislative authority, but it is, the governor's branch of oversight for IDAs. The comptroller really is our legislative oversight, and, so there were breakout sessions on that as well. So I will get to writing up a report, it's just this time of year is just tough.
Yeah, well, do what you better do, but yes, that would be very helpful. And, you did send out one, it's a lineup of the major bills that are either on the floor or in
Right.
committee. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, let's adjourn this meeting. I need a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Bob and Tony?
Yep.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Time is?
5:40.
Do you need me to
Thank
sign
you.
it?
Yes,
I need
yeah, I'm
John
sorry, there you
Hancock's.
go.
Not gonna steal my pen back.
Absolutely you need.